This is Nasruddin Alhrari from Libyan Department of Antiquities, Benghazi branch. My presentation is about documenting and evaluating the impact of rising sea waves on the northern side of the archaeological site of Tocra-Libya. Of course, these natural threats occurs to many archaeological sites in Libya in general, and in the archaeological sites in Cyrenaica in particular, due to them being located near the sea, which led to the collapse of many of them. For example, the city of Apollonia in Susa and the city of Ptolemais, Tulmitha. We can see that Documanus Street that is adjacent to the shore collapses, erosion, and continuous destruction every year. And also a large part of the city of Ptolemais is submerged underwater. Near the port we can see that there's a Saturjan, and also the site of Sidi Abdullah, 20 kilometers west of Ptolemais. Many sites are exposed to these natural threats. The objectives of this case study: documenting sea threats on the northern side of the city, assessment of the damages caused by high sea waves on the northern side of the city, to create a plan to manage and protect the site. While working on preparing the study, I've used the following methodology: field survey, documentation and photographing all of the damages, locating damage using GPS, analysis of aerial image data, and production of digital maps using ArcMap, three-dimensional documentation using photogrammetry. Tocra, it's located in the northeastern part of Libya, in Cyrenaica, on the shores of the Mediterranean Sea. It's about 80 kilometers east of Benghazi, the second largest city in Libya. Tokra has been exposed to all the cultures, from prehistoric age, where its items and artifacts were found and excavated, to the arrival of ancient Greeks around 610 BC, the Roman and Byzantine eras. It was the last stronghold of Byzantines before the Islamic conquest around 642 AD, the Ottoman rule and Italian colonization. All of these foreign cultures mixed with the local culture and resulted in a cultural heritage that is rich with historical, civilizational, artistic, and scientific values, in addition to its economic value. Also, the city holds within its walls different architectural formations. A large part of the city isn't discovered yet, as no excavations have been done. Outside of the city, burial sites and quarries could be found both in the eastern and western sides. Also, the presence of historical heritage, as in the historical Ottoman and Italian city. All of this gave the city a special value in its cultural heritage. The study area covers the northern side of the city of Tokra, with an estimated distance of about 760 meters, which has been classified into three areas as follows. The first is a rocky beach that extends to the west for a distance of about 260 meters. The second area is a sandy beach with a distance of 245 meters. The third area is a rocky beach with a distance of 265 meters. We can see the changes in this beach in the drawn pictures from the archives of Tokra rooms. The diversity of the beach type in a small area had a direct impact in the amount of threat in this area. First area, Rocky Beach, distance of 260 meters. From the rocks, it's visible that some cutting has been going on here. This area was used as a quarry for the city in that era. Variety of architectural formations, large part of which are still underground and undiscovered. The impact in this area is lower than the site. The second area, 245 meters, it was the most affected, as we can see in these three-dimensional pictures. Big rocks and bricks that used to be covered are clearly visible now. What seems to be a corner of a building is visible now. A wall with the small rocks put together. Also, what can be seen is the change in the soil and rocks. It is considered an important scientific area. Large parts of it were uncovered by the sea waves, and other parts are still covered. It's considered a fragile soil that could easily get destructed by the waves. In the past years, with waves crashing into this area, a wall has been uncovered. It was built with ancient rocks that has been brought from inside of the city. Bricks and rocks, we can see that the building technique was different. For years, a distance of 10 meters of this wall has been uncovered from east to west, and a height of 5 meters. Also, some parts are still covered, but they don't provide any protection to the wall. From my field visits, I've observed that some parts of the wall were poorly built. With waves continuously crashing into the wall, this will lead to its destruction. While visiting the site, this area is also distinguished by its scientific value, especially with regards to the study of the stratigraphic sequence and individual content. This is a three-dimensional image for a small part of the soil. We can see the different contents of the layers of the soil, sandy and rocky. The change in the color of the soil and the presence of ash, which indicates the effects of burning. With a large number of broken pottery and almost complete pots, all of these are scientifically valuable. We know that the city of Tokra is considered one of the most important cities in Cyrenaica, famous with the manufacturing of different pottery. This area represents a scientific value for studying pottery and the individual content. To answer many of our questions, sadly, these scientific values are lost every year due to soil erosion and collapse, which is a great loss of cultural heritage in this area. Due to the erosion and collapse, many architectural elements are spread on the ground. Columns and architectural decorations elements. Sadly, even inscriptions and carvings are spread on the beach. That's an inscription that I found while on a field visit to the site. It's certain that many of these elements and inscriptions has been lost in the past years. The third area had many different architectural formations. That's a wall foundation that extends towards the sea. And that's a building with a vaulted ceiling that dates back to the Byzantine era. Large parts of the building were destroyed and the others are still underground. From the plastered basins, it seems that this site has had an industrial function. Architectural formations and foundations are visible and extending towards the beach. They were destroyed because of the sea. All of this is considered the loss for the area. To see the extent of the destruction, we can compare it from pictures in the 2017 Office Archive and the pictures that I've taken during a field visit in 2022. The wall we've mentioned earlier is visible in this site. There's an extended or supporting wall. This area has been completely eroded, a big loss. It could have answered many questions. It's visible in the second picture in this area in 2017. It's a wall extended towards the sea. One stone is visible. In 2022, three stones are visible, and also there are few on the ground. This is a rock formation visible in both pictures. The formation is still there, but the amount of eroded soil has increased. The distance is about 4 to 5 meters, all eroded and lost a lot of value with it. We can also compare it with the naked eye, the distance uncovered of the part of the column. The erosion of soil and uncoverings has endangered the wall, which became exposed to the crushing sea waves. Through the historical tracking of aerial images on Google Earth from 2002 to 2021, and also using ArcMap and the drawing of the beach path to be able to find the comparisons between the erosion and the damage to this area. In comparison between the pictures of 2002 and 2021, through the aerial images, we can see that in the middle area, that's a distance of 245, especially in the center path. The erosion inwards is about 6 meters, and that's in the period of 20 years. If we could get an older image from the 50s, we would see that the distance exceeds 60 meters, and it could get up to 20 or 25 meters, especially with no protection programs. By analyzing the data, I've come to find the amount of the area and the distance of erosion in the site using ArcMap GPS. In this digital map, we can see that the yellow color representing the northern side in 2002 and the red color representing the northern side in 2021, and the blue color is representing the erosion and collapse distance and area. We can observe that the distance inward in the first area is about 2 to 5 meters and the total area of about 453 square meters. In the second area, from my field visits, I have noticed the exposure of different architectural formations that are threatened with higher sea waves due to their proximity to the sea. If we were to do a hypothetical or virtual study with ArcMap, we would find that the distance would be around 5 to 8 meters, which will destroy a big part of this area. In order to get to results and a work plan, I used the SWOT analysis. There are some strengths, such as the study area is characterized by several characteristics, including historical and cultural value, scientific research value, and economic value. But also, there are some weaknesses. There are no protection plans, and the site is exposed to the danger and threats of high waves. Some opportunities There are many opportunities to protect the site by creating wave breakers and erecting salvage excavations for monuments under the threat of destruction. But we will face the threats of the continued crash of the waves will inevitably lead to more losses in the absence of funding for the Wave Breakers project and the cooperation of international and local organizations. From this study, I've come to conclude some recommendations. Site Management and Protection Program. The Management and Protection Program must go through three stages. Each stage has its own program, and they are as follows. The Wave Breakers Project. This project is one of the most important steps to be taken for protection programs, and it requires the presence of specialized companies in the construction of wave breakers according to the nature of the area, and it requires special funding. The second program, rescue excavations, which are to be used especially that the wave breakers might take longer than they should, maybe for 2 or 3 years. We can't predict the amount of loss during this time, but a rescue excavation could take place. Protection program to document and draw the endangered archaeological sites. The third plan. During my field visits, I've noticed the extension of the city towards the sea, which gave me the impression of presence of ruins under the water. Also from the information that I've gathered from the locals, they've mentioned that there's some ruins submerged under the sea. This requires the formation of specialized team of archaeologists equipped with the modern tools to conduct the survey and documentation of submerged archaeology, and to determine the extent of the city or the presence of any archaeological features. Lastly, we would like to extend our thanks and appreciation to everyone who helped us in this work. Ahmed Saad Milud, who always was helping me, and also to ASOR for giving us this opportunity. And thanks to all of you, together to protect cultural heritage.